that Epstein, with his little friend Ghislaine and Ghislaine's father, Robert Maxwell, who was obviously a spy of the Israeli intelligence agencies, that there was something else going on here. Epstein was not some sort of whiz-kid hedge fund manager. Epstein was playing a part. Epstein was a LARPer. Epstein was cast for a specific role, and he played it really well. The sweatpants and the Harvard jacket, the kind of disheveled hair, looking as if he was so smart and above the clouds that he was doing advanced mathematic equations on the back of napkins. But if you actually go into some of the videos of people that met with Epstein at the time, they said he was awfully unimpressive when it came to finance and markets and economics. And it's nothing new that if you're in the intel agencies, you want to try and get as much blackmail on powerful people as possible. Easy, not hard. And this is no longer just speculation. First of all, the evidence that shows that Epstein was a creation of either Mossad, Israeli intelligence, American intelligence, Saudi intelligence, or maybe he was just a hired gun. Maybe he was just the guy that countries would go to and park a couple $100 million and say, hey, can I gotta be careful the way I say this. They're gonna try to ethnically cleanse Gaza. I mean, I don't use that term lightly, okay? They're talking about basically removing 2.5 million people from there, okay? And honestly, they have a mandate to go seek justice and revenge. They do. This idea that they need to have a truce or a peace treaty, that's morally, after you see women and children be burned alive and dragged to the streets.
The Jews killed Charlie Kirk. It is the 8th gender thing in one of their Talmuds, the Babylonian one. And it was in Germany. They did the first sex changes and all that. And it was a Jewish thing. And there was all that stuff that went on. And Hitler used that to get to power. It's weird how this is happening again. And I just see Satan behind the whole deal playing it. So I guess you could say this cult, but the MI6 and CIA back, there you go. So I guess if you want to go back to this cult getting started by that, there you go. So any way you slice it, you get what you want. And I'm only saying that not to kiss your ass because you're the big high and mighty ones and you decide who's real. This is a spiritual war and a demonic invasion. I'm telling you, they're going to try to kill Trump again. You know they're gunning for me. They're all over the place. They want to kill me, kill Steve Bannon. They're talking about wanting to kill Charlie Kirk's wife. It's horrifying. It's scary. It's crazy. And it's the big banks and the psychological warfare systems that need us at each other's throats so this goes down. That's how you destroy society. That's the Great Reset. That's their plan. So, on to the Israel thing. The idea that I'm the OG original launching all this stuff in 31 years, exposing all of it, but I don't hate Jews. I just hate bad stuff that some of the Israeli government does and some of the corrupt things they do. For a lot of people that just woke up politically, all you know how to do is connect something to Jews. And if I think Israel was involved in killing Charlie Kirk and he was starting to criticize him, because when he did criticize him, they kind of came in and got in his face and called him anti-Semitic, and he didn't like that. When you sit there and you watch my host exposing this and talking about things and asking questions, and you go, well, why is your host saying this? And a day later, you're saying something different, because we learn more. Everybody loves Hitler now, because everybody's trying to revolt against the system, because you were never supposed to talk about Israel or any of this. It was the taboo subject. Now people woke up in general to everything else that's going on. You can't blame every single thing in the world on some government or some group. You've got to know all the different pieces. They're like, no, you got the money from them, because there's a lot of simple-minded people now. Israel being a problem is a real thing in AIPAC, but I'm saying like the flat earthers, everything that connects to flat earth, all they talk about is flat earth constantly, because it's all they know. Oh, dude, just say the Jew word. What are you talking about? You know, it's retarded. It's because you don't have any depth. So I need you to not be mentally ill. And then Netanyahu goes on TV and says, I did not kill Charlie Kirk. The real message is Israel has such bad PR now. Gallup poll, the most unpopular country in the world. It's like, if I get up with a stomachache this morning, it's supposed to be Israel. If a bolt of lightning strikes my house, it's Israel. That's mental illness, people, and that's what happened in Nazi Germany. And that's why you had Hitler and the Jews going at it, because they both thought they were the master race. I'm sitting back going, we need to fix all this and stop us. We're going to blow the planet up, okay? So all the taboo stuff you think, I've already said it. People see me saying stuff 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago. Where's this, Alex? You're not watching the show. But everything is just not the clash between the Aryans and the Jews that's been going on for 2,000 years since Rome. You need to get sophisticated. You just bleep a few slogans or a few things you learn. Where people change the debate so they can win the debate. I'm not trying to win a debate with you. We're out here fighting as hard as we can to bring society and culture together. And we're honest about all the stuff. That's where so much people know about false flags because of us. They know about Israel and staging things and being involved in 9/11 from us. And when you sit there and attack Netanyahu with totally made up stuff, that strengthens his hand. And then all these other Jews and people and Israel supporters that aren't bad people, they see ridiculous stuff like that. And people posted Hitler videos saying how great he is. Not good, folks. The Nazis robbed whoever they wanted. And they started with the Jews because they were unpopular. And once they set the precedence to do it to them, they can do it to everybody. That's how this works. So you got the trans people and you got the dudes that are into that, okay? And the subculture has degenerated, much of it, into open Satanism, pedophilia, nihilistic destruction. Just like the shooter 2.5 weeks ago in Minnesota killing the kids at the Catholic Mass. Like a demon putting all these manifestos. Devil, Satan. Oh, I'm going to kill kids. This is what this is. And the trans community and the left were saying, we're going to kill Charlie Kirk. The trans community there locally was posting the day before, he's coming to town tomorrow. He'll be liquidated. He'll be dead. Watch tomorrow. And now they're online, the same people with their accounts up bragging, saying, I told you he'd be dead tomorrow. I'm not going to tell you how I know. These people are cuckoo. You go to these Democrat rallies now, and these Antifa rallies, upwards of 30-40% are these people. In Austin, they march around with M4s. I don't even go out these things anymore with security. They say, Alex Jones, we're going to fucking kill you. You've seen the videos. They've done it to Owen. Big fat dudes in dresses, beards, boogers hanging out of their noses. It's all about how slothful they can be and how ugly and gross they can be. I know this cult. It's like they're possessed. I mean, this is spiritual. It is a devil cult. You know, Baphomet is both sexes. And it goes into the Kabbalah and all that mysticism of the Babylonian Talmud where there's 8 sexes and all this stuff. This has all been done before. You know, in the Bible, it describes all this with Sodom and Gomorrah. Then all of a sudden, Israel did it. When Israel does something bad, I'll cover it. But I'm not going to sit there in some bandwagon just for clicks and just say, oh, yeah, Israel did this. And then sit there and look at the security team who are doing hand signs to each other, looking at the crowd. The guy behind them jolts. There's no gun. They go, oh, look, he killed him. No, he shot from the roof through the neck. You have the footage of the guy on the roof. You have the footage of him running, jumping off, going. It's him. You got up close of him in the hallways. It's him. So they say kill him. They celebrated everywhere. They celebrated on the site, jumping up and yelling and screaming. They were chanting kill Charlie Kirk, a bunch of them right before he got killed. The question is about transgender shooters. He goes, yeah, transgenders are a big problem with shootings. Boy, I get shot. And then I sat there on the plane watching confirmed freakazoid furry videos of him with his trans girlfriend. And they're 2 crazy, spoiled, rotten 22-year-old brats that have been living together on the internet constantly in all these sick Discord things. He told his parents, Charlie Kirk's a fascist, and wrote on the bullet casing, catch a bullet. It's like crazy Charlie Manson dudes that don't even have lipstick on. They just go, I'm a woman. They just stomp around in dresses and kill people like the Joker. He's blowing up hospitals dressed like a nurse. They have these trans men go in and get in the stirrups in England and say, check my cervix to the female doctor on purpose. And when they won't do it, they get fired. It's pure harassment. Women's sports, everything else. Terrorizing people. Beating up girls in sports. This is insanity. And it goes back to the French Revolution, which was launched by Satanists. That's in mainline history books. The Illuminati, it's real. Look at Baphomet. That's who they worship. Transgender God. God bless you all. It's an info war. And keep your head on a swivel out there. This is serious.
The perception the legacy media is like owned by the Jews. And
I was going to say, Ben, come
pro-Israel.
on. You Jews own the media, Ben. So, I mean, come on. As you could tell by all the wonderful headlines you guys get.
Well, I mean, dude, the accusation that we own the media has not prevented, the Daily Wire from employing people who radically disagree with me on all of these matters. I mean, I don't agree with Matt Walsh on foreign policy. Matt obviously is a major host over at Daily Wire, and that's just my shop. And I'm overtly pro-Israel. Right? I mean, I'm not making any bones about this. I'm a Jew and I'm a Zionist. I'm not going to pretend that to say otherwise would be absolutely silly. To suggest that some sort of atheistic Jewish person by birth who does not care about Judaism or Israel owning the New York Times means the New York Times is pro-Israel is to ignore literally every bit of coverage they have ever done for my entire lifetime.
We're running out of time here, but just last question on this, Ben. I know this might be a tougher question, but Bibi said, quote, I didn't like he said this, I'll be honest. You can't be MAGA if you're anti-Israel. I don't like it for a couple reasons. How did you analyze that statement from Bibi?
I mean, I think that there is the ungenerous way of interpreting that and then the generous way of interpreting that. So the ungenerous way is to suggest that you have to hold a particular position on every Israeli governmental activity in order to be MAGA. Which, of course, is not true. I mean, you can disagree from the right or from the left with Bibi's policies, and you can still be plenty MAGA. I think the idea that Bibi is putting out there is that if you are taking Hamas's side against Israel in a conflict, it is very difficult to align that with the stated positions of the Trump administration or what President Trump himself is doing right now. And that much I certainly is true.
You cannot look. I think you can have disagreements on Israel and still be MAGA. Obviously, you should be America first. But if you're pro Hamas, you're something darker, and we shouldn't put up with that.
You guys do not believe for 1 second that they have caught Charlie Kirk's killer. Okay, Charlie Kirk about 1 month ago talked to Pastor Mark Driscoll and told him that he was afraid Israel was going to kill him if he turned against them. So this is Mossad, this is our CIA. These are the two that organized this most likely. They know about it. They did not catch Charlie Kirk's killer. Do not believe the lies on the media. They are feeding you complete lies. That is a scapegoat. That kid they have up there that they're going to prosecute is not Charlie Kirk's killer. That is the fall guy. Do not believe it. Okay? This was said, and you can verify this. This was said to Pastor Mark Driscoll. In fact, he made a video about it. Okay? About Charlie coming to him and letting him know exactly what was up.
You know that plane that went viral for leaving Utah at the very exact time that the suspect got away and then disappeared on radar? Well, the owner has come out and gave a statement. This is the plane. He said, Shalane and I join our community. Mind you, this is a very rich guy from Utah, the CEO of the jet company. He says, our state and our nation is mourning the death of Charlie Kirk, and we pray for his family and loved ones during this difficult and tragic time. His death and the way it occurred was both horrifying and senseless. We pray that the extensive efforts by law enforcement to locate Mr. Kirk's attacker will be swift and successful, as often happens. Unfortunately, in the wake of such terrifying and public events, a variety of baseless theories and suspicions around Mr. Kirk's murder immediately took hold on social media, including one that has unfairly impacted our family. To set the record straight, we provide the following fact. Yesterday at approximately 20 p.m. Mountain Time, a private aircraft owned by one of our companies with tail N888KG arrived at the Page, Arizona Airport, PGA, at approximately 1:55 p.m., 12:55 local time. Upon arrival, I, Derek Maxfield, boarded N888KG along with 7 additional passengers, 7 for the return trip to PVU, 2:40 p.m., and arrived at PVU at approximately 3:15 p.m. Mountain Time. Radar services with air traffic control were terminated in mutual agreement between Denver FFA Center and NAAA-KG, approximately 10 miles from landing at PGA, which is consistent with generally accepted standard practice when flying in and out of non-towered airport like PGA. NAAA-KG pilots followed all FFA requirements and protocols, tower directions, and the predetermined flight path. This round trip was made at my request and solely for my purposes. Any suggestion that the flights by NAAA-KG yesterday are in any way connected to the tragic shootings of Mr. Kirk is inaccurate, false, and without any credible basis of any kind. To our knowledge, no one associated with yesterday's flights by NAAA-KG have been contacted by law enforcement for any reason. We ask that the focus remain praying and supporting those who have been deeply impacted by yesterday's event and on the critical efforts of law enforcement to bring Mr. Kirk's murder to justice.
But it goes to the point where, if, for example, if I have less ability sometimes online to criticize the Israeli government without backlash than actual Israelis do. It's
been
almost
so
as if
unfair. They were coming after you after Turning Point for, among other things, that you had Dave Smith there. Dave Smith is allowed to criticize Israel. You had both sides. The Israeli side was overrepresented.
Though. No, you're not allowed to. It's even worse than that. Like, I host a person that I moderate the debate of, mind you, right? And I give equal time to Josh Hammer, equal time to a pro-Israel advocate, and my moral character is being put into question. And so I think it's a hyper paranoid, like, we're just going to try to, we're going to just stamp out everything type of practice.
It's there's some rule you can't go there when it comes to Israel.
Well, you and I believe that we're Americans and Americans first, period. End of story. We are citizens of this nation, okay?
That's
and
right.
Israel, we have funded, we have supported, not like we're going to, but we're like, honestly, the way you are treating me is so repulsive. I have text messages, Megan, calling me an anti-Semite, but my moral character is now being put into question, Megan. Not my decisions, not like, hey, are you doing this? Is it smart or is it dumb? But no, I am a bad person if I do this. And I could go, I mean, you saw it, Megan. It was trending on Twitter, thousands of tweets and text messages.
It's offensive to those of us who have been out there defending them in many instances against critics on our own side. And now you have a couple of comments like, well, what about this? Well, has it gone on too long?
And Jewish donors, they have a lot of explaining to do, a lot of decoupling to do, because Jewish donors have been the #1 funding mechanism of radical, open border, neoliberal, quasi-Marxist policies, cultural institutions, and nonprofits. This is a beast created by secular Jews. And now it's coming for Jews, and they're like, what on earth happened? And it's not just the colleges. It's the nonprofits, it's the movies, it's Hollywood, it's all of it. It's like time for you guys to wake up and say no more, draw a line in the sand. I don't care if you hate me. I want you to tell the audience what's going on in Gaza, because some people in the audience don't know what's going on. So don't assume they know, and let's not get back.
Oh, okay. Well, I did assume that most people know that lots of babies are being killed in Gaza, but maybe I shouldn't have assumed that.
Don't be sarcastic about it, Dave. Instead, I mean this.
No, I meant that literally. I did assume that.
Information loop where they're on social media all the time. Okay, so walk through numbers, walk through what animates you to say something like that.
Well, okay. Well, let me respond to a few of the things that Josh claimed. I mean, if you want to go, there was just a major report a couple weeks ago in Haaretz, the Israeli newspaper, where they had a bunch of IDF soldiers. They actually had one who went on record who was saying that they were ordered to shoot at crowds of people who were going into
all right, what a libel left-wing filth, by the way.
Josh, I let you talk. Let's please let Dave make his case.
Well, is the IDF soldier who went on the record also filth?
Probably.
Okay. All right. There you go. So if there, see, you're whatever. That's when you'll criticize the IDF. Look, Josh is just lying when he says that Israel supported Hamas for all those years because they feared there might be a worse alternative. It's just not true. And this has been so widely reported. You don't have to rely on Haaretz. You can rely on all types of reporting, or you can just look at all of the leaders in their own words, what they said. They chose Netanyahu, and this was very controversial in Israel. There were lots of critics of this. Netanyahu thought he had this brilliant idea, which is that he would prop up Hamas and keep them in power. His exact quote was, "We can control the height of the flame." So he was like, we'll keep these terrorists in power, and that way we can tell the entire international community that, look, we have no partner for peace. We have no one to deal with here. And that way we never have to negotiate with the Palestinians. This was the game that he played, and it blew up in his face and really blew up in the Israeli people's face on October 7th. And I've never downplayed October 7th.
You and I are both supporters of Israel and have defended Israel since the beginning of this conflict and spoken out about the anti-Semitism that has erupted on these college campuses many times. I genuinely believe you'd be hard-pressed to find somebody in the public eye who's been as outspoken a defender of not every move Israel's taken in the war, but of Israel's right to defend itself and of the backward awfulness that we've been seeing on college campuses and the backlash against American Jews. I have been at the pointy end of the spear on this, and I
completely agree with that.
And it was all heartfelt, and it remains heartfelt.
Yes.
However, my contention here is that some in the pro-Israel camp are so knee-jerk about calling you anti-Semitic or getting deeply offended if you say anything that doesn't align with their narrative, that it undermines their own cause. And I have to tell you, I find it very irritating because I do feel like some of us have earned the right to have some credibility on the subject of Israel and don't want to be called those names when we have some mild pushback on some of the overreaches, whether it's, whether they're winning or losing the propaganda war right now. And my contention is they've begun to lose it. And I realize it's propaganda coming at us from Hamas, but their numbers have turned here in America. They've turned, not so much with Republicans, a little bit with Republicans, but completely with the Democrat Party and with independents. They have shifted mightily from at least double digits highs to single digit lows now with when it comes to approval. Also, with respect to, you and I speculated about this at the Turning Point event, whether the possibility of Jeffrey Epstein possibly being a Mossad agent or asset or affiliated with, that's been turned around on me too, to you must be anti-Semitic. What the hell? That's such bullshit. The same people who say you can criticize Israel, that's fine, we won't call you anti-Semitic if you criticize Israel, now turn around immediately and say you're anti-Semitic for even raising that. I completely reject that. And I raise this as a pushback against my friends on that particular strain of the aisle to watch it, because you don't want to alienate people who are openly your friends by going nuts in your crackdowns on mild pushback on anything related to Israel.
I think I have a bulletproof resume showing my defense of Israel, both on campus, on social media, to great, let's just say mockery and scorn at times, because I believe it, right? I believe in the scriptural land rights given to Israel. I believe in fulfillment of prophecy. And again, I'm not a theologian, but I'm a Christian. My life was changed in Israel.
Before I let you go, I want you to address one thing, and it's just the absurdity of it. Some of the internet rumors that somehow Israel is behind the Charlie Kirk murder, and I don't believe it for 1 second, but I want you to
look at the smirk on his face.
It's so absurd.
That's insane. That's insane. Israel also changes the orbit of the moon. Israel pushes the sun. I mean, the whole thing is. It's not only insane,
what does that even mean?
I think it's so absurd, so stupid, and so ridiculous. You can't believe that people are saying that. They just found the perpetrator. They'll get to the bottom of this.
I don't think they have yet.
They go, they have no limits. When you hate Jews, when you hate the Jewish state, you're willing to say.
How are they always pulling the victim card? How do you somehow turn the situation into being the victim from it being about Charlie Kirk?
Kill us all the time. I mean, that's what they're doing. And over the centuries, when Jews, especially in the Middle Ages, the horrific Middle Ages, the worst things were said about Jews you couldn't possibly believe. We were poisoning the wells. We were drinking the blood of Christian children. You name it. I mean, these things that continued actually up to the Holocaust. The Nazis said the same thing. We're carrying vermin.
There's no way, chat.
Disease. And people believed it. And every time they believed it, this was a prelude to a greater and greater massacre, culminating with the worst massacre of them all, the Holocaust. Well, since then...
Oh, the worst? What about the Bolshevik Revolution?
Spread these lies about us. Prepare yourself for the assault. And, they're trying to delegitimize the state of Israel. Charlie Kirk said to me that he wrote me this detailed letter. You have to fight the slander. These untruths, these vilifications have consequences. And he was right. But I'll tell you one thing. We're fighting on the battlefield against the terrorists and winning.
Oh, I thought I was going to say the women and children.
On the battlefield of ideas. And I think he was winning. He was going to win. That's why they shot him.